And welcome everybody to another 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. And I've got a great guest here, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Wanted to first start off with a big thank you to the Reynoldsburg City Street Department, the Parks and Rec Department, our events coordinator Jennifer Clemens, and the Reynoldsburg Community Association for an amazing 2 days of celebration for the 4th of July, starting with our fireworks that were amazing. I don't know if you had too much of a chance to see. These are the actual fireworks, not the ones your neighbors were shooting off in their backyards the last couple of days. But these are the actual ones at Civic Park. Great. And then the Community Association knocked it out of the park with a return into the 4th of July parade, which I had a chance to see you there. So that was an awesome thing. So thank you to all for that. It was a great way to bring the community out in public for the first time in a long time. Now, with that, I'm going to introduce somebody who has a much cooler title than me. This is Her Royal Highness, Her Majesty, Tomato Queen Tapisha.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for coming here today.
You're welcome.
I bet you're going to be talking about something with the Tomato Festival.
How did you know?
I don't know. It just kind of jumped out at me thinking about it. So the Tomato Festival is now our #1 thing here at the city. We've got that coming up in just a little over a month.
Yeah.
So you have a distinct record. You are the longest serving Tomato Queen in the history of the city of Reynoldsburg.
Yes, I am.
And it's not just because you're awesome, which you obviously are.
Thank you.
But it's, obviously some other things came up. So let's just start, in case there's anybody out there that might be watching to kind of follow in your footsteps. What was it like to apply to be the Tomato Queen? What kind of pushed you into wanting to do that?
So I've done pageants before, but I wanted to do something like within the community, and I'm already pretty involved through student council and everything, but I wanted to do something that really like tied me into the community. I wanted to leave a legacy, if you will. And when I heard about like the Tomato Festival, that just seemed like the perfect opportunity to do that. So I just kind of went on the internet, typed it up, signed myself up, and just did it.
And history was made.
And now we're here.
So what was your experience like? So you're signed up, you're ready to go, and then kind of like bring back all those years ago. What was it like?
It was super interesting. Michelle actually sent me over like a list of facts that I needed to know about Reynoldsburg, the Tomato Festival, and all of that. So I sat there with my mom every single day, and we would run through the questions to prepare for the interview. And then obviously day of, I got to be with all of the other contestants, which was super fun and like a really nice bonding experience. And we sat there and we prepped together in the back, and then we went into our interviews and we went on stage and we did the thing. It was super fun.
It sounds like a great time. I remember seeing it. Now, since you've become Tomato Queen, have you had any like official obligations? What are certain things that you've been I hate saying required, but that you've wanted to do because of the fact that you're the Tomato Queen?
I get to go on all these cute little festivals. So there's like the vegetable parade, which we didn't get to do, but there's like the vegetable parade, obviously the 4th of July parade. I got to do stuff at the Halloween night thing that we do in Reynoldsburg, and just like local community events where we have children and like kids. And you just get to go and have fun, and people come up to you and they're all in shock. It's like living your like Disney dream. They just come up to you and they're like, "Oh my God, you're queen." And I'm like, "Oh, if you say so."
Modesty is leading the way here today. Now, because you've been queen a little bit longer, you're going to have to return the crown at some point. I know you're not looking forward to that, but what do you hope to like give to that next to the next queen? What do what advice would you give them?
That they deserve it. That if you've like won, you absolutely deserve your crown. And you need to be confident in who you are, and you need to rock that crown, girl. Let me tell you, you are going to look absolutely amazing in your crown. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I can say, is just be confident in who you are when you wear the crown, because that's what really like shines through. Now,
do we need to have other people around to actually remove the crown from you when the time comes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not only because there's like 500 bobby pins on my head, but...
Well, it's one of those things, you see like actors in famous movies and things like that. You always ask them, did they take a souvenir from the set? Something tells me that you might want to take maybe the sash and the crown, just as a souvenir.
I'd like to keep it framed.
Right. Well, now that you're moving on, what are you doing? What's the next step? So you've graduated from Reynoldsburg, so what's your next step?
I will be attending the University of Virginia this fall.
Okay.
I'm studying international affairs and politics. I'm actually I leave a couple days after the Tomato Festival, actually. So that is what is ahead of me. Yeah.
Now, you were a big part of some work here in the city last year, even during COVID. You were an intern under City Attorney Chris Shook.
I
Why don't you tell us about what that was like, and what did you help to contribute to the city of Reynoldsburg that really, in addition to your length of being a queen, that's also part of your legacy here in Reynoldsburg?
A huge thing for me is diversity. Obviously, I'm Nepali, and we have a growing Nepali community, as well as Reynoldsburg being one of like the most diverse cities that I personally have ever lived in. And I think over COVID, we obviously had like the death of George Floyd and everything, and I organized the Black Lives Matter March, which was huge for me. And so with that movement, my biggest thing, and I even said it at the march, was accountability. And I feel like that's a huge thing for any city, with people in general, is just being able to hold other people accountable. And so when I got the opportunity to work with Chris, he let me work on my passion project. And we passed a civilian review board last year actually. And that was like huge for me, because it's just that first step push for accountability and finally doing what's right. And I think that is huge for a city. Like, I know we are the city of respect. And once that bill was like, when it was passed.
Wait, so you get the idea.
Yeah, when it was passed, I just like had like an immense amount of like respect and like pride in the city. And I think also working with Chris really made me realize that I do want to go into law. And that this is something that I'm genuinely passionate about, and I want to work on international issues. And it just kind of gave me the push to do that. And I think being a queen also gave me that like confidence to really believe in myself and my abilities. And I hope that whoever gets this crown next also feels all of those things when they're wearing this crown on their head.
It's a lot of obligations with it. Now, obviously, our new Tomato Festival pageant is going to be at the Tomato Festival. Do you have anything you would like to share with anyone watching? Any kind of notes or anything as far as some of the details?
I do have some notes.
It's almost as if I knew that.
So there are a couple different categories for the pageant. Obviously, there's Queen, First Attendant, and Second Attendant, and those are for 9th to 12th graders. And then we have Reynoldsburg King, which is for 9th to 12th graders as well. And then we have the Junior Princess, First Attendant, and Junior Prince, which is for 5th to 8th graders. And then we have the Little Princess and the First Attendant, and then the Little Prince with the First Attendant, and that is for 1st graders to 4th graders. And then we also have your Senior King and Queen, which is a married couple who's at least 65 and has done something for the community. And you can send in your applications until July 23rd. Yes, and I hope to see you guys all there.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
I'd love if you could stick around for a little while so you can
Of
kind of get an update on some of the other things. But first I'm going to ask, do we have any questions for our queen?
Well, we don't have a question, but we do have some news to share with you that we've been informed that as the queen, you do get to keep your crown and your sash.
This is getting a nice spot in the room, let me tell you. No one's ever going to, I'm never going to live this down.
No, you won't. I can imagine you. Good luck to your roommate.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. That'll be fun. That's a great comment. I think really from here on out, there's nothing else that's going to matter. But we do have some big news for the city of Reynoldsburg. On the agenda for council next week, the city of Reynoldsburg is going to propose to council the opportunity to switch our trash service provider from Rumpke to local waste. As you know, we've had a number of issues the last few months with Rumpke, and so this is a contract year for us anyway, and so we were actually we received a bid from a competitor company to Rumpke called Local Waste, who does some other areas in Central Ohio, and the city of Gahanna and the city of Reynoldsburg are going to be looking to work with them. We do have some of the details, but I don't have them with me, but I do encourage you to take a look at the agenda that will be released on Friday. But basically, with some of the issues that have gone on and some of the price considerations with this new contract, I think this is the best step forward for the city as we move forward from here on out. So details for council on Monday. So again, kind of keep that in mind for everybody that's had some issues with their trash the last little bit. We do have a couple of things that I'm going to bring in. As you all know, we do have community commissions. We move these meetings to the Wednesday after our council meeting. So on this July 14th and July 28th, we will have our community commissions. The first one is Arts and Beautification, and the other one is then Traffic. And then the following at the end of the month is Military Recognition and Welcome and Diversity. And so we have those meetings, which we hope all of you will join in. There's always good things going on. But prior to that, I'm going to go ahead and just open it up City Hall at about 6 o'clock, about an hour before these meetings begin, just for an open house town hall. If you have questions and you're unable to get here during like your normal traditional business hours, your 8 to 5, but you have a question about what's going on in the city, or you have a question for me, you want to know what this is or what that is, we're going to go ahead and open up City Hall for you to kind of come in on those couple of occasions in July. And then depending on how many people show up and what it's like, we may make some of that kind of permanent. Obviously, you're more than welcome to set an appointment with me. I've spent a lot of time over the last few weeks going out into the community and visiting a couple of places. If you have concerns about roads, property development, all of those different types of things, I'm happy to do that. But just in case you don't have the opportunity to get into City Hall during the day, this will open it up out there for you as well. We are also going to be scheduling a roundabout discussion. The Traffic and Transportation Committee is looking to really dig into whether or not we want to have a roundabout here in Reynoldsburg. And the specific area that the commission would like to have a roundabout is actually the 5-way intersection. So before we get too far into anything with that, we definitely need community feedback. So we're just trying to figure out a date right now, but it'll probably be towards the end of August, because it'll take us that long to recover from such a wonderful tomato festival. We wanted to make sure we give a little bit of time out there. But it'll probably be in late August, and we'll open it up for people to come in and maybe see some of the preliminary sketches that have been done a few years ago, ask questions, hear some responses, and see what the community wants. Because if the community is not looking forward for a roundabout, which I know that this is a very post-friendly topic on social media. There's going to be a lot of people for this or against it, but we wanted to make sure that the community has a voice if this is a direction that they would like the city to go to. We have a lot of city events coming up. We have the Farmers Market tomorrow from 4 to 7 at JFK, always a good thing. Everybody has their own little favorite something there. So kind of come on out there. I know my favorite are the cake pops, but that's just because I know the pickles are a big thing too. I don't know if they're coming tomorrow though. Are they coming tomorrow? Do we know? No, not tomorrow. So they're here alternate weeks. We also have music in the cul-de-sac tomorrow night as well. So kind of check that out there. We tried to have music on the cul-de-sac last week, and it rained, because that's apparently what it does at city events. So it just happened. So we're going to get those out there again. We also have the Chamber of Commerce Business After Hours, July 8th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. So if you can come out to that at the Reynoldsburg Chamber of Commerce office off Bryce Road, we look forward to seeing you there. And our big reveal is going to be this Friday. We're actually going to discuss who's going to be our opening acts for our main performers for the Tomato Festival. So we know who they are, but we're going to bring them out on Friday. So keep an eye on our social media pages on Friday to get an idea who these opening acts are. Remember, our big acts that are going to be opening Thursday night is called the Land Sharks. It's a Jimmy Buffett tribute band, surf music, that type of thing. Friday night will be Survivor, and Saturday night will be Arrested Development. So it'll be really interesting to see who opens up before all of those acts. And these we tried to make as local as possible, so a lot of good local acts there. One of the byproducts of the Civilian Review Board is that we had all of our members go through the Citizen Police Academy. So now we're going to take that and open that up to the public. So for the first time, the citizens will actually be able to participate in the Citizens Police Academy. It's going to start Thursday, September 2nd. It's going to last for 8 weeks, and it's going to be open to all Reynoldsburg residents. You're going to learn a little bit about how to do some detective work, some canine training. You're going to get out there with the radar gun and see if people are actually speeding as much as it seems out there, and a whole lot of other things. So we've got that going on. So if you would like more information on that, you can go to our website, go to the police page, and then you can put in that application. I think they're looking to do about 20 to 25 students for this particular class. But it's something that I do recommend. The conversations from the Civilian Review Board, the feedback that we had gotten is the great conversations. All those things that you probably wanted to have for it, where they were hard questions, but they were good questions, and they were honest questions. And I think the only thing that we can do when it comes to any kind of racial issues in our country is we have to talk about them. We can't just be hiding behind an angry face or a social media post. We actually have to do something about it. And this is the best way to do it. So if you weren't going to college, I would have already put you on the list. We also have a couple of development updates. We're going to have a new pet hospital here in Reynoldsburg. It's going to be in the 256 shopping area, so that'll be getting underway in the not-too-distant future. And I do have news for those people who like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is looking to open sometime late August-ish. If weather holds and everything is good and all that, it'll be late August. So that's what we're looking for the Chick-fil-A on 256 to reopen. And we do have an idea of when that Kmart is coming down. Like I said, our goal was to get it to come down between after the Tomato Festival, before Labor Day. We are still on track for that. And it's going to be a little bit of a community event. We're looking to see if we can bring maybe the high school band out there, have some food trucks if they don't cancel. all of those different types of things, because it is going to be such a groundbreaking, see I did that, groundbreaking, it's going to be a groundbreaking thing for our city. The ability to get rid of such a blighted area and what's going to come in there after that as far as the opportunities for commercial, retail, and other businesses that will help revitalize the western border of Reynoldsburg. In addition to that, not long after, you're looking at the library that's going to be done there, and then we'll have some news on the Bryce Park opportunities as well. So we're really doing a good job of pushing some of those improvements out onto the west side of Reynoldsburg that will be able to help kind of revitalize the entire area. And continuing from last week, I have some community comments that I had not finished up. These were all the things from social media that was on talking about development. So this is a couple of things that we'll go through, about 3 or 4 of these questions. Does every new business require formal review and approval from the city? And what is the process for opening a new business in Reynoldsburg? All right, so that depends on a couple of things. If the new business is going to be built, if they're going to take open space and build a building, then a lot of steps have to come into play for all of that. It's different. The process is kind of like what we've already discussed. If they want to do it, they have to make sure it's zoned in the right area, that their business, if they're looking to buy, is able to be built there. And then from there, they have to submit building plans and engineering plans and go through approval through either the BZBA or the Planning Commission. If it's an existing building, so the Himalayan Culture and Cuisine, which I was actually at last night, thank you to them for inviting me to recognize some people at that event. That was an existing business, but they were repurposing it for a new restaurant. So they still had to go through the permitting process, but it's a lot more fluid. It was not as difficult to do because you're not building anything new. So that's kind of a difference between those types of things. So we also have, what types of development does the development director focus on? What is the end goal of the development that the city attracts? Is it to increase tax revenue or benefits to the city? So we're going to start at a very high level and then we'll work our way down. At a high level, the goal is to bring in businesses that basically increase the tax base. The more city income tax that's out there, the more roads we can fix, the more park amenities we can put in play, things of that nature. So that is at the top level, the big one. Now, since I took office, the Director of Development, Andrew Boucher, and I, our number one focus was the old Kmart location. So we were able to accomplish that within the first year. So now we are moving on to a number of other different areas, including specifically Old Town, which, we're going to be doing the Main Street improvements there. You're already seeing some improvements with Vic's getting ready to put in their patio that they've got there. We're also looking at what we've called the Eastwood Project, which is across from the Department of Agriculture, which will be a lot of commercial property, followed by some senior living apartments, and then some anything from single-family homes to estate homes. Estate homes, for those of you who are unaware, those are the ones that I know I can't afford. Those are $500,000 and up. So it's going to be a mix of all of those particular things. Now, when it comes to specifics, like for when everybody's asking, when can we get a whatever? When can we get a bowling alley? When can we get an ice cream shop? When can we get can we get a movie theater and things like that? Those things are a little bit more difficult to recruit because of, 1, COVID, and 2, the business models that are out there. Businesses are opening business for one thing and one thing only: make money.
Yeah.
And if they can't make money in a particular area, they're not going to open that business there. So when you look at certain businesses like a skating rink or a bowling alley that Reynoldsburg used to have, well, we have to ask ourselves, why don't we have them anymore? And most likely, if the restaurant is closed or the business is closed, it's because people didn't go there anymore and their services were not needed. So that's part of the issue. The other one is, how expensive is it to open a new bowling facility? How expensive is it to do other things? Now, the market is kind of adjusted, so we've all heard. Have you ever been out to Pins? It's like the smaller bowling alley type of thing, 10-pin bowling, things like that. No. I'm going to judge by the look on your face you haven't been there. So they have one at Easton that just recently opened up. So instead of like the big, large, 40-lane bowling house, these are a lot smaller. Okay, so it's a little bit more manageable. So those are some of the things that we're seeing. We're also seeing things like urban air or laser tag and things like that. And those, while those are great, sometimes those are not something that everybody goes to every weekend. So you have to rely on birthday parties and you have to rely on events and things like that. And for some of those places, you can't do it. Movie theaters, that's another one. I'm going to guess that when you go to movies, the movie theater you go to is over in that other place across 256 that we don't mention, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we don't mention that town, but that's part of it. So I don't know if our community could support something like that. But what we do is when we do talk to businesses, when we are talking with developers, and we say, hey, these are certain things that we would like to see, we do definitely try to bring those in. It's just a question of whether or not we can get them to come to our community. And that's everything that we do without taking into consideration COVID. Bowling alleys were devastated with COVID. They were closed, and then even when things started to open up, they didn't open up bowling alleys. Movie theaters have just started to release, big movies coming in there, so people weren't going back to there. So there's a lot of things with that kind of determine whether or not those businesses come here. Do we have to develop all vacant land in the city, and what are the city's plans for more green space and parks? I'm really glad you asked that one. If the vacant land is owned by a private property owner, then it's up to them to decide what they want to do with. We cannot zone specifically and say you cannot make this anything other than open green park space. And we cannot do that. We are not allowed to do that. So if they would like to sell that property and sell it for something else, they are able to do so. When it comes to green space, we've done a couple of things to adjust with that. We've talked about Bryce Park, including some of that more green space over across from where the library is going to be. We've definitely spent a lot of time talking about improvements to Civic Park. We did a lot of improvements in JFK Park this time. And there's a few other things that we're out there trying to do. But we're also working with our developers that are coming in with some zoning changes to make sure that when they're building whatever it is that they're building, whether it's commercial property or residential, that they take into consideration that they want to increase their green space. And green space doesn't just mean a area where water can go for storm water. We actually want something where people can walk. So the new MI Homes development that is getting ready for their grand opening next week, they actually have multi-use paths within the community. They have little park space areas in the community itself. So we're making sure that they do those types of things. So that way there are amenities that the community can enjoy just as much as everyone else. All right, so those are the big questions for that. So I will hold off, and again, we have plenty more where that came from, but we'll just go through a couple of those every week until we answer them all. Are there any questions that have come up since then?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, all right. So what's next? What are you going to do after this?
I'm going to go work.
You're going to go to work? Where are you working at?
My mom's store.
Yeah. Where's your mom's store? Free plug.
Yeah, my mom has a store. It's right next door. It's on, what is that strip called? It's on the strip with, I know the address.
You're freezing.
I know. It's 1324 Idea Drive.
There you go. So it's sell clothing?
Yes, we sell South Asian clothing.
There you go.
For the most part, yeah.
So check it out. It's a great location for that. And again, thank you, Your Royal Highness, Your Majesty. We appreciate you coming in. Next week, on July 14th, we're going to have our next 12 o'clock show, except we're going to be on location. We're going to be on location at our senior center. So we're going to go out and visit there. They're going to have their kind of grand reopening for everything. Apparently, not only are they having people coming in, but apparently the card playing started again, so everybody's gambling. I'm not gambling. I'm sorry. Playing cards at the senior center. Not gambling. That would be illegal. And then we will be visited from Les Samaji, who is the head of the Reynoldsburg Visitors Bureau, so he'll be here. And it looks like we have a question that popped in.
We did have one come in. It says, are there any plans to repave the walking trail in Huber Park?
The walking trail in Huber Park. Well, it's a good question. We are working right now. We have applied for and we have successfully been granted a grant that we're going to put in place for next year to actually adjust the walking path in Huber Park to address some of the erosion concerns that are right there up across the water. So that's going to go into play for next year. So we're going to make sure that we take care of our streams so the erosion factor is not that bad. We're going to get rid of all the invasive greenery that's in there that shouldn't be in there to help strengthen that area. And then we're going to move a brand new path further back. So while we might not be repaving the old one, we're actually going to make a new and better one just because of the safety and for the environmental concerns. That's a really good question. So I enjoy anytime I can talk about us getting awarded grants is a good thing. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. Hope to see you at the Tomato Festival and all of our other community events. Make sure you stay safe and respectful. You don't have to bow down to the Queen when she's here, but it would be helpful. And as always, please put away your shopping carts. Have a great day, everybody.